everybody, get some booms in the chat for the playthrough for Master Division for the Coast to Coast tournament. A video sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. And before we start, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and also visit golfclashtommy.com for more Golf Clash related content. You can becoming a master of this game by becoming a Patreon. Link to patreon.com/golfclashtommy is in the description down below. Also, this tournament's gonna be a difficult one, but we still need to get a few drops. I do see hole number 2 especially is an absolute must. And we just need to make sure that we do hit perfect. There is plenty of other shots here. You would see drops on 1, on 2, on 3. And then you will see drop on 5 as well. And you know, some other good stuff to work with. Make sure you follow the info box on the right hand side. Elevation, club and ball is what I would suggest for that specific hole. In the end, make sure if you do have any questions, make sure you make a comment in the comment section below. Thank you so much for watching this playthrough, and let's go to hole number 1. For hole number 1, here I'm going to show you a sniper shot that has been very consistent. I want to also address that there is a rocket shot here, or I would say many different rocket shots that are really good. Here, first and foremost, we go with the blue ring by the bunker, blue ring by the rough, and using, in this case, 4 backspin. And we're going to, so not 4 backspin, 4 left spin and 2 bars of backspin. And the important part is to use the blue ring by the bunker, blue ring by the rough. And once we are done that, we're going to use a slight 1159 in terms of our pull with maximum distance and a 40% over adjustment power 1 ball setting. And the ball is going to bounce very nicely, and it's going to come in very nicely and catch that little hill there, fall down towards the pin. Again, you know, a sniper shot here with good result, but you do have a rocket shot as well, where we play with max backspin, go for the top right of the green to let the ball fall down towards the pin as well. So it's all about personal preference, but here you have the sniper shot at least with good success. For hole number 2, we are going to play with 6 bars of topspin, 2.5 bar side spin to the right, and we are going to look very closely at the top of the ball guideline. We do want the ball guideline to come in, obviously, on the fairway, but more to the right of it. Half of the white ring inside the rough to the left in max distance with Apocalypse level 8. Adjustment, maximum distance with a 20% over adjustment. And our target is, like, the thing that we are aiming for is to get into 380 yard mark approximately. From the 380 yard mark, we are going to play with a short iron. The short iron is then going to be, for me, the thorn. And the thing that I'm doing here to bring consistency to my shot is to have the white ring just by the start of the fringe. And then whatever type of spin I need to get the ball guideline to the hole. Never use any side spin. Just use a click top spin or click back spin or no spin at all. And then we're going to adjust from -5%. Adjusting this one approximately 2.7 rings. And when it comes to here in Master, it's very valuable to do have yardage notes for these type of shots. -5%, as I said, we bounce and we come in a little bit right, still getting it in though, but a little bit over adjustment. Definitely need to reduce a decimal there with our shot. But however, no matter what way you're playing this hole in Master, this is going to be an absolute must. For hole number 3, we are doing a crosswind, right to left as a wind. 5 top spin and 2.5 bar side spin left. And now I'm using white ring by the rough line to the left. If you do have an Apocalypse level 5 or level 6, you have half of the white ring inside the rough. And Apocalypse level 7, you do have 1/3 of the white ring inside the rough. Adjust maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment And the only thing that we are looking for here is to get the ball up to the fairway. And obviously, the more distance we're getting, the better it's going to be. But be aware of the rough there on top, because if you get into the rough, you will struggling reaching to the spot that we're going for now. Cataclysm, no matter what type of level, but here have in mind that the lower level Cataclysm, the less topspin you're going to have. Obviously, those of you that do have Cataclysm level 8 do have a little advantage, as to get to the spot that I want us to get to, then we don't need to get with any overpower. But if we do play with Cataclysm level 7, 6, and then I want you to go with approximately 1 to 2 rings of overpower. And even though we will hit a great ball sometimes on this shot, it's still going to be fine, because the only thing that we are looking for is to transportate ourselves up to the top right, giving ourselves a nice shot then with a short iron towards the pin. And you can see as well that I'm playing with a 3-point ball. And a 3-point ball is to obviously reduce the wind. But for those of you that don't really have these type of balls, but do have Pinecone, Centurion, Superstar ball, which is wind 4, power 3, and then side spin 2 or 3 ball, then you can play with those instead. But if we do have the 3-point or burns ball or baseball, I think it's a very valuable ball here to play. So, third shot, now we're going to play with the Thorn, and we are going to play this one from approximately 25% of our club. Obviously that depends, so therefore it's very important that you stretch out and pull back to see the distance on your club. But the trick that I'm using here to give myself a firm and consistent landing point is to use the left side of the yellow ring by the fringe with ball guideline to the hole. So the only thing I do have to correct here is the side spin, depending on where I end up after my second shot. So it could be sometimes we go, without side spin, sometimes we go with 1, sometimes we go with 2.5. Again, it all depends on how we do with the second shot. In the end, if we can get an eagle here, it's going to be massive. It's considered an extra drop, because this par 5 is not a par 5 that we do reach the green in 2. No elevation for the second shot, no elevation for the third shot here on hole 3. For hole number 4, we are going to play on the right-hand side over the rough and the sand, using 5.5 bar topspin and 5 bar of side spin to the left. Starting with the red ring by the rough to the right, and that is with Apocalypse level 8. Have in mind that you do need to correct that a little bit if playing with Apocalypse level 7, 6 or 5, as the rings are a different size. Now, once you have adjusted for maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment, we are going to play with approximately 75% of the ball outside the adjustment ring to the left. We're looking to get into a distance that is approximately 375 to 380 yards. From there, we are going to play with a short iron, and here I'm looking for the funnel. First and foremost, I'm trying to look for different type of spots, but I'm deciding in the end to look for the funnel that we can find going in from the right to the left, the pin. As you can see here, using a 2.5 backspin and also 1.5 bar side spin to the left. But I would like to advise you to play with less backspin, to go with only 2 bars backspin and 3 bars of left spin, to come in more right to left and then catch the funnel in a better way. The way you know if you're catching the funnel or not is that you wiggle a little bit back and forth and you see that the ball guideline does not move. That's a very important thing to have in mind. Here I adjusted for 75% of the club, and you notice that we come in a little bit too much to the left. So I would advise us to play around 50 to 60% of club. No elevation for the second shot, but no matter what, a very good chance making an eagle. For hole number 5, I'm going to give you 2 types of approaches. One is going to be power 0, wind 5 ball as a start, finding minimum distance with the blue ring by the rough to the right. So very simple lineup. Then we're going to play 3 bars of backspin, and with an 8.6, we are using 2 bars of side spin to the left. Obviously, lower wind will have less effect when it comes to the wind push, which means that we then have to reduce the side spin a little bit. So I would say an 8.6, 2 bars of side spin. If we get it come down to 8, we're gonna play 1.8 side spin, and if we come to lower than 8, like a 7.5, I would play 1.5 bar side spin to the left. So that's first option. Minimum distance, 10% over adjustment, power 0, numbers. So the first elevation number. Now, second one, we're going to apply a power 1 ball, win 5, and we're gonna play with sniper still, using 6 bars of backspin and 1.5 bar side spin to the left. Very important to not be too heavy on the side spin, because I'm too heavy on the side spin here. You're gonna notice that I'm struggling to finding the landing position. We do want to have the bottom part of the yellow ring by the fringe corner there, with the second bounce in the center of the dark green square row. That is 3 green squares to the right of the pin. And now when we have done that, we're going to adjust, and we're going to adjust for a medium distance with a 5% over adjustment, power 1 ball. We take our shot, and the ball is going to bounce, and it's going to come up to the hill and fall back down. Here, unfortunately, I used a little bit too much side spin and also weren't positioned correctly, and therefore I missed long, but that's also a good option for hole number 5. For hole number 6, we are going to play over to the left-hand side, and here we're going to use a spin that is going to be 4 bars of top spin, and we're going to go 5 bars of side spin to the left. And here a Centurion is very valuable to reduce the wind a little bit. And stretching out to look at the blue ring to the left, I want with an Apocalypse level 8, that is going to be half of the 4th ring. It's going to be in the rough and the rest on the fairway. Then we adjust the maximum distance with a 20% over adjustment. And once we are done, we are going to have to push up our target into max before we take our shot. I was about to forget about that. As you can see that I'm correcting myself. Push up to max, and then we're going to go with a slight curl left. We don't need much, but just a little bit. The ball just inside the ring there to the left, and the ball is gonna come down, bouncing on the fairway, coming maybe a little bit too much on the left hand side here, so we might reduce the curl a little bit, but we're gonna get a distance that's gonna be approximately 410 to 415 all the time. And you're going to push up your shot, push up your club with whatever type of wind strength you're having. Now, second shot, we're trying to catch the funnel here, guys. And that we're going to do by using just around half a bar to 1 bar of side spin right. Get the ball guideline to be slightly short of pin, approximately 1 green square. And then we're going to adjust for medium distance with a 5% over adjustment. And that's very important to have in mind. Medium distance plus 5 from 415. And the thing that we obviously gonna do then, if we then have a shorter drive, for an example, like getting to 410, we need to compensate for that a little bit. Coming in with a great ball, we have a good line, but coming in short because we lose distance. So we might need to add just a little bit, a tad more, even with a 415. However, though, it's going to be a good chance playing in that funnel. For hole number 7, we're going to attempt a rough bomb, trying to catch the funnel that lies very nicely. 1.1 top spin, 4.1 side spin to the right. You see that I'm playing with a Win 5 Power 2 side spin 2 ball. I don't have a picture of the Aurora ball, unfortunately, but Aurora ball is the one that we do want to go with. Now we do have the red ring by the rough line, ball guideline to go slightly through the hole. And then we're going to adjust maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment, trying to give ourselves a slight 1201 full angle here. Adjusting, and then we're going to take our shot. We hit the ball perfect, had to hurry up there a little bit in the end. We clipped the rough, but we're coming in a little bit too hot, not not really a little bit too hot, but we're coming in a little bit too much to the left there, and that is something that we obviously do need to correct for the next time. For hole number 8, we're going to play an aggressive shot. You use as much top spin as possible with 2.5 bar side spin to the left. Then we back up and start at plus 10, looking for the ball guideline to be just by, just outside the rough there, as you can see with the tip of the ball guideline. Maximum distance with a 10% over adjustment, and then we're going to apply max overpower, max curl, and try to hit perfect. I would advise you to, if you do play with an Apocalypse level 5 or level 6, to move your target a little bit more left. And the reason I want you to move left, like just only half a ring, that's because you have less curl than what you're having when it comes to Apocalypse level 7 and 8. So just to compensate for that. It's still going to be a risky shot. A very risky shot that with a bad shot, with a good left, good right, or like with a bad great left and great right, you are not most likely, we're gonna risk the rough. Second shot, if we do have the distance, we are going to play the rough bump by the green. But if we don't have the distance and have to overpower to go for the rough bump, we're just going to bounce before. If we bounce before, we use no elevation. If we do the rough bump, we use no elevation whatsoever. Trying to estimate the distance and then take our shot. This is obviously a tough par 4 to make an eagle on, but if we can reach into rough bump area, then the eagle will be more realistic. For hole number 9, we're going to use a Wind 3 Power 5 ball, and you can see that I have a Berserker in the information box on the right, but that's just to display the Power 5 ball, because I don't really have any pictures of any other type of Power 5 ball. So Power 5 ball is what we're going to go with. We're going to start at plus 24 is our starting point, using as much top spin as possible with 1 bar of left spin. Now the tricky part comes when it comes to overpower. Here I'm using approximately 4 rings of overpower, which is going to be good when it comes to Apocalypse level 7 and 8. But if we do get to Apocalypse level 5 and level 6, you need to go with max overpower, otherwise you will not reach to a distance that will be manageable for the second shot. 20% over adjustment for the drive. Second shot, we play with the Cataclysm or the Big Dog for that matter. It depends on what club gives you the most distance. Obviously, playing with the Cataclysm in a level 5 or higher, then that club is going to be superior the Big Dog, no matter what type of level you have the Big Dog in. So ball guideline to the hole, and we're using a spin that is approximately 3 bars of backspin. Could be something that we need to use a little bit less or more depending on how far we do with our drive. No elevation whatsoever. Unfortunately, a bad great left. This one is gonna miss way left. But the idea with this to play with a Power 5 ball is to give ourselves some sort of a chance from distance, even though it's going to be very difficult making the Albatross. Thank you so much everybody for watching this playthrough for Master Division here in the Coast to Coast tournament in Golf Clash game. The video is sponsored by Golf Clash and Playdemic. Make sure you get the best guides on the market by subscribing to patreon.com/golfclashtommy. Link in the description down below. Once again, thank you so much and good luck in your Golf Clash game.